Alrighty, everybody. What is going on, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome back to another live. We are picking up here on some coverage. I promised you guys we go live here about 8 o'clock, and I decided to stick with the time because it actually looks like we are starting to see a couple of storms firing off here. We actually did have a severe warning storm already right here by the Des Moines radar. So we are starting to see some stuff pop off here. Anyways, what's up, guys? Good to see ya. What's up, Mark? What's up, Eric? Hope you're doing well. Eric says, "Let the action begin." Yeah, it seems like things are starting to kind of come together here. I was actually looking at the surface observations here, and honestly, these dew points are incredibly low. Like, we're talking dew points in the lower 50s, upper 40s right now across the region. So, these are definitely not any surface-based storms. So, we're likely not going to see any tornadic activity, which I'm super, super thankful for. I mean, obviously, we don't want any of that mess, but we'll definitely keep a close eye on it because hail is definitely going to be kind of a bit of a concern here. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. What's up, Ghosted? Good to see you, friend. Hope all is well with you. Oh, another thing I want to mention is that also for day 3 now, for Wednesday, SPC went ahead with it, and they actually pulled a slight risk here. So if we hop over to Wednesday's threat, you can see we do have like central Oklahoma, north central Texas here. We do have that slight risk here for Wednesday. I think Wednesday is kind of setting up to be a pretty decent day worth of severe weather. I think it's something that we definitely got to keep a close eye out for. Tomorrow we do also have a pretty big slight risk here for bits of the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes region. So, I mean, we're going to be pretty busy. But yeah, mainly today, we're just keeping a close eye on this slight risk area here, mostly for like Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin. That's where the main threat is here overall, so we'll definitely keep a close eye on it. What's up, Squashy? Let's see here. Jameson says, how is the sounding looking for me tomorrow? Let me pull this up real quickly. You're up in Indiana. Okay, you're up in northern Indiana. You wanted to look at tomorrow, right? So I guess we'll hop on over here. Let's bring up our composite reflectivity. So any specific time? Or I'm probably just assuming you mean like whenever storms fire off here. Here, we'll bring up the RRFS model. Go back to 18 Zulu. Yeah, so tomorrow we are going to get some storms sometime pretty late, it looks like. We'll grab a sounding just before the storms fire off here, just to kind of see what the environment looks like. It's definitely better than it is today, honestly. Those lower levels today, like I mentioned, are pretty bad. We do have a lot of elevated storms out there today. But honestly, I mean, we do have 60-degree dew points. I'm not really liking those lower levels too much. You can see once that front hits, though, those lower levels could get absolutely trashed here. But, before the storm, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. We'd have some pretty good wind shear, pretty good lower to mid-level wind shear, which will be good for organization within these storms. Pretty good amount of instability, 1,700 ML cape. That's pretty solid. Anyways, we're not going to spend too much time on this, but yeah, definitely looks decent. Tomorrow, definitely need to keep a close eye on it here. But anyways, hopping back to radar. We'll go ahead and pull up the latest scan. So we do have no active warnings, but we do have a bit of activity that has started here. We did have a severe warning not too long ago. Matter of fact, it even dropped a little bit of hail out by Ankeny here. 0.7 inches in diameter, which is not anything excessive per se. Let's see here. Squashy says it was a beautiful day in Philly for planting. Oh yeah? What'd you plant? I've been needing to get some stuff planted here soon. Thinking about growing some tomatoes this year. Growing some nice little cherry tomatoes. So good. Love them. I know there's a lot of people that don't like tomatoes, but they're so good. If you grow them right, they're amazing. They're definitely not as good as the store-bought ones. Or, sorry, they are better than the store-bought ones. That's what I meant to say. Let's see. Sleepless says, I think tomorrow is going to overachieve and Wednesday may under. Really? I was thinking the opposite for both days. I was thinking tomorrow, it's hard to say, but I think Wednesday, I think we're kind of underestimating Wednesday. In my opinion. In my opinion, anyways. I think Wednesday could be a pretty good day for severe weather. Let's see. What's up, Wells? Good to see you, friend. Let's see. JW says Carmel, Indiana. So overnight. For today or tomorrow? See, probably tomorrow, because yeah, tomorrow you do have a marginal. Here, let's hop back over here. Honestly, yeah, you're kind of you're just on the right. You're basically on the edge of that marginal there. If you do get convection, it's going to be probably pretty late tomorrow. I'm gonna have to say, yeah. The main threat's actually kind of north of you, honestly. Let's see. Pansies and moving shrubs. I'm getting my tomato plants tomorrow. Nice, nice. Are you growing the big ones or the cherry tomatoes? Cherry tomatoes are the best. They make such a good snack, you know. They really do. Well, that's awesome. I hope that goes well for you. Anyway, so looking at the radar now, we're starting to get some storms popping off in Iowa. We actually just had a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. It's now been canceled, but it was in Des Moines area. It actually went right over that radar site there. Actually, one thing I wanted to point out to you guys and kind of show you something that was pretty cool is y'all might be wondering what this is. See how it's stationary? See how there's nothing, there's no storms or anything? So this is actually wind turbines here, or windmills here. We'll actually go ahead and turn off the radar. If you look closely, you can see there's a couple right here. There's a couple over here. If we turn back on the radar, if you kind of look where these heavy areas are, it actually overlays. There you go. You can see the windmills there. It's crazy because radar actually picks up, the windmills out there. Just thought I'd share a little bit of something cool with you guys. What's actually kind of interesting though is that we started seeing a storm develop out there by those windmills here. You see, it kind of formed actually slightly just before the windmills, but it went right over where the windmills were. And now it's going eastward. It doesn't seem like anything big, but we're still watching this guy, that one severe warn cell. It's no longer severe warn at this point, but it is still going. It's heading out towards Newburgh, Iowa right now. So, are you doing both? Oh, that's perfect. The big ones are good for like sandwiches and stuff, and then the little cherry tomatoes are just good for snacks. They're so good, so good. Cherry for sure, absolutely good choice. That's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. I grew one last year. We only got a couple of them out of it, unfortunately. But this year, I'm planning on going all out. I'm planning on getting some troughs and planting quite a few tomato plants. I'm hoping to get some soon. So awesome, though. That's really cool. Getting a grapevine. They take a while to grow, if I'm not mistaken. Unless it's like late, I'm pretty sure. We used to have a grapevine when I lived in Virginia, and it would produce grapes. They're seeded grapes though, but yeah, not too familiar with how to grow those. Let's see what's up, Scott. Good to see ya. Caden says, "Can I pull a sounding for Ohio?" Yeah, I can do that. It takes a lot of moving around here, so I'm only gonna do a couple of these every once in a while. Here, let's hop over here real quick. But yeah, we're mainly going to focus on what's happening right now. Tomorrow, yeah, you do have that slight risk as we were talking about. Hopping back to the models real quickly. I'm just going to grab one right near Cleveland here. This is 6 p.m. Yep, so pretty good instability. Not really much has changed. Decent. Like I said, our dew points are in the lower 60s, supplying good moisture. Potential for surface-based surface-based storms here. We do have a good amount of instability. Good mid-upper level wind shear. I mean, it seems decent regardless. I mean, we're definitely gonna need to keep an eye on it. Main concern is definitely going to be kind of like in the realm of damaging wind gusts. We do have that 15% out there after all, and hail we have a 5%. So we'll just keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye on it. What's up, Calvin? Good to see you. Hope you're doing good, friend. But anyways, let's hop. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a look over here. I do want to bring up our sat view. Go ahead and pull this up now. See what we got going on here. This is geocolor, so the sun is already set at this point. If we go over here by Iowa, you can see that part where the storm started kicking off here, out there by Des Moines. Here, we'll even backtrack a little bit. We'll go to the last 4 hours here. So there's a little bit of cloud cover out here, but you can really see where that one storm right here really started firing off here by Des Moines. And here's the latest scan. So it's still going. It is still going, but it's right now it's sub-severe. So I mean, we'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, the models were kind of suggesting that the coverage of storms would increase as time goes on here, which it seems definitely quite possible. We're already starting to see some more activity popping off here. Let's actually look at the Davenport radar. We'll go ahead and pull this up real quick and see what we got going on here. It doesn't look like we have a whole lot of convection popping off over here right now. Let's check up on Wisconsin. I know Wisconsin was supposed to get some too. Yeah, it looks pretty calm out there. So I mean, yeah, there's not a whole lot of activity right now. It's really just that one, that one kind of main cell that we're looking at here, as you guys can see also here on the sat view. So, and like I said, guys, if you are unaware of today's risk, we do have ourselves a slight risk. This is a severe threat level 2 out of 5. So severe threat level 2 out of 5 on the let's pull this up on the convective outlook. So the main level 2, or where that level 2 is at, is here for central eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. This includes areas like Milwaukee, Des Moines, Iowa, just kind of north of Chicago here. Chicago's in that level 1 though. We are in that marginal. But like I said, the good news is that, there is no tornado threat here particularly. No tornado threat because, these are relatively elevated storms. We have a really high storm base, which just pretty much ruins any tornado shot or anything like that. So damaging winds, though, we do have a 5% chance here. And then, of course, for hail, that's kind of where the main concern is mostly for hail. So that's really something we got to look out for. We do have that 15% risk here in the yellow, 5% chance here in the brown, and we do have that SIG level 1 risk, which this is basically saying, hey, we actually could see some hail, possibly upwards of 2 inches in diameter here. So I mean, we do have a pretty good shot at seeing some pretty large hail here for today. That's really the main concern here, overall. So we'll definitely be looking out there for that here. Let's go ahead and pull up our radar here. Go ahead and hop you guys back over here to this page. So here's the current satellite radar overlay here. We'll go ahead and play this down in time, and you can see that we started getting that storm as it kind of just rolled north through Des Moines. Still is ongoing here, but like we mentioned, this thing is now pretty much sub-severe at this point. We're not really currently severe warned, but we'll definitely keep a close eye on it. Colorado says you're superb at this. As a mom of Sundrage, I can say how proud I am. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me, Colorado Mountain. I appreciate it, my friend. That is really sweet. That means a lot to me. Thank you for that. I try my best. I might not be the best out there, but I try my best to keep you guys informed and weather aware. But seriously, thank you for that. Oh my goodness, that was really, really nice of you. Really nice of you, friend. So we also can't forget about our folks up in Michigan too. We do have this marginal. Now this is a low-end severe weather threat, but it doesn't completely void any chance of severe weather. Matter of fact, it's actually classified as a severe weather risk area. This is considered, still a potential for damaging storms. But like I said, the good news is that no tornadoes. A little bit of a wind threat here and a little bit of a hail threat. Yeah, it's kind of an even hail to wind threat for a lot of Michigan. And that goes through like Detroit, Lansing, Grand Rapids, Bay City, Traverse City. Some of those areas for a pretty good majority overall of Michigan. So Colorado says, I'm in Dallas, but follow you wherever you are. Let's see. Keep up the great work, and you're very welcome. Seriously, thank you so much, Colorado. That really means a lot to me. It really does, friends. So thank you so much. And we'll be covering down there. I'm sure at some point here within the next couple of months, if even the next month or so, I'm sure I'll be covering more of Dallas area. So. But thank you once again. I really appreciate it. I just realized they actually put a marginal over here in Texas. Here, let's hop back over here for a minute. Yeah, they put a little level 1 threat over here by Texas. We got a special weather statement. Do we have a storm line over here? Oh, yeah, we got a couple little storms up by Lubbock. Look at that. So 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts and 0.25-inch hail. Chris says it's coming right at you. Is it? Well, you talk about that one cell over here in Iowa. This currently not severe warned or anything. I mean, we're chilling right now. It did have a little bit of hail reported on it though earlier, but that was back whenever it was over by the radar site, which it looks like it's kind of weakened a little bit since then, but still should stay indoors, away from windows and stuff. Will North Texas get severe weather this week? As of now, matter of fact, I think Wednesday. That's right, Wednesday. We do have a little threat here. Let's hop over this real quickly. So yeah, we do have a pretty big marginal that goes through Texas. So there you go. There's the Dallas threat. I honestly totally forgot about Wednesday. Yeah. So Wednesday we got to keep an eye on. It goes through central Texas, through Oklahoma, eastern Kansas, Missouri. We even have a level 2 for bits of north central Texas out by like Wichita Falls and bits of Oklahoma here. Oh my goodness, Colorado Mountain! Thank you for the 5. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much, seriously, for the kind love and support. I appreciate it. Guys, if y'all please could, give Colorado a big thank you in the chat. It would be much appreciated. Seriously, thank you so much for that, Colorado. That's really sweet of you. That is really sweet of you, friend. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. What's up, Carrot? Good to see you. Saying, hey, Andrew. That storm in Texas has nice precipitation core on it. Is it the one by Memphis, Texas? Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's popping off pretty good here. Wow, look at that. Isn't that incredible? It's so cool to look at. So yeah, there you go. Colorado, we're going to have to keep an eye on the Dallas area here for, like I said, Wednesday. Because we definitely do have that threat here. As of now, it's a marginal. It's a pretty low-end threat here, but still something to look out for. So we'll definitely keep a close eye on it. All right, hopping back to Iowa. Looks like we're still kind of just chilling. Mostly sub-severe stuff, or actually all sub-severe stuff. Right now, wait a minute. When did we... Hold on a minute. We got some severe warnings up in Texas. Did they warn these? You know what? Yeah, they were actually hidden. I just didn't see them. Here, let's hop back over here. You can barely see them, but they're actually right here. Look at that. The Day 3 Outlook was covering it up. Well, there you go. Wow, dude. It does, actually. We even reported 60-mile-per-hour winds out here. That's exactly why they added that marginal risk there. Goodness. Jinx, Texas. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Nah, it's all good. Yeah, Memphis reported 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts from a West Texas mesonet here. Look at that. That's 70 dBz on that. Let's see. 70.5. Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty nice little storm here. Our dew points down here are also extremely low. The dew points in the 50s. Yeah, these have got to be elevated storms here too. Here, let's hop back over here for a minute. We'll bring up our Mesoanalysis real quickly. Head down to the south. Pull up our SQT chart. Oh, yeah. Very dry lower levels. Look at that. So that's actually the thing. If you have really dry lower levels, this can actually enhance damaging winds. There's something called evaporative cooling. Basically, as you have rain that falls through the lower column of drier air, some of that rain actually gets reabsorbed back into the atmosphere as water vapor. And actually, going from a liquid to a gaseous state, for water vapor or for water, it actually cools down the environment. And we call this evaporative cooling because that water is evaporating into the air, being transitioned from liquid water to water vapor. And, you guys probably know, the saying, cold air sinks, hot air rises. This actually accelerates the air further downward at a faster rate because it cools down the environment even more. So this could actually enhance some strong winds and stuff, which, is likely kind of what we're seeing with this storm over here. Unbelievable. I mean, that's a pretty healthy little storm here. Let's pull up our volumetric scan here. I do want to kind of pull up that on the volumetric. So, okay, here's north. So we're in the eastern panhandle. I mean, that's a pretty healthy little cell here. It is. Here, you know what we're gonna do now? See if I can't maybe grab halfway through it. There you go. Wow, look at that thing. that's quite impressive. Seems like the storm, yeah, about 40,000 feet or so. That's a decently tall storm. I mean, it's not the biggest storm I've seen, but it's pretty good size. Actually, you can see there's a few outflow boundaries from it too. So basically, this is that cold air downdraft. So basically, you know, that warm air gets sucked into the storm and it cools down and it gets shot out shot out on the downdraft, and that can actually cool down the surface. And sometimes it can be strong enough where they actually kick up some stuff that the radar can see. I believe like insects and dust and stuff like that, and the radar can scan that boundary. So you can kind of see where that leading edge of the cool air is, which is pretty cool. And a matter of fact, you know, that can actually spark off some other storms too. You know, if the environment supports it, which, you know, it's definitely possible. Unbelievable. Here, let's hop back up to Iowa real quickly, where our main threat is. Yeah, things like I said, they're not really anything crazy at the moment, but subsevere for now. Hey, you know what? If it stays that way, I will not be upset. Will not be upset. Warned for 1.25 inch hail also. Is it? Let's see. Yeah, we do got $0.50 size hail on that. 60 mile an hour wind gusts and $0.50 hail. Pretty good size. Which, you know, we're not too much in the growing season yet, so, you know, impacts would probably be pretty minimal. But, you know, once we start pushing into like April, May, you know, that's when you really start to see the growing season start and stuff like that. Because, you know, me and my dad, we always used to have a garden. I mean, a pretty good size one. And back when I lived in Northern Virginia, we'd always plant our potatoes in actually March, which you start those early from what I remember. You know, you start potatoes fairly early. Not sure if anybody's growing potatoes out here, but if so, then maybe a little bit more of a concern. But yeah, I mean, 1.25 inch hail is not really. I mean, it's decent hail. Don't get me wrong, but it's, you know, not anything, you know, like super significant per se. It's under significance here. All right, we're gonna hop back up here. See, Alice says the newest HRRR has 59-degree dew points and higher ML Cape tonight at 23 Zulu. Well, what state is that in? Because, I mean, yeah, having upper 50 dew points can definitely be pretty good. I'll bring back up our Mesoanalysis here. All right, so here, we'll bring up our lower level wind shear. So, you know, there's actually a pretty good little lower level jet on that storm here. The one over there in Texas, you know, we got about a 30-knot lower level jet. So winds flowing from the south to the north. And our mid-level jet is pretty much perpendicular, actually pretty slow. That's kind of crazy. The winds really don't increase much with altitude, so... But there is a little bit of veering there, which is interesting. But yeah, very, very elevated storm base. I'm sure that lifted condensation level is going to be pretty high. Where's it at? MLCL. Wow. The base of that storm is estimated to be 3,100 meters, which that's like, I think that's like that's like 9,000 feet or something. Let's see, 3,108. That's 10,000 foot. Holy cow. So that's basically the layer at which you know, the rising air parcel would reach 100% humidity. That's pretty crazy though. So that thing's got some pretty tall pretty tall bases. Now, you got to remember, also in radar, I mean, yeah, we're going to be scanning rain all the way to the surface because, the radar scans precipitation, not the clouds themselves. But the cloud height would be right around 10,000 feet or so, which that's a really elevated storm. There is absolutely no chance for tornadoes in that. Even though we have the veering and stuff like that, that wind shear that could support it in theory, the thermodynamics do not. Those dew points here from local MEDARs, you can see there's a 50-degree dew point marker, which it just does not usually work for surface-based storms. Almost always elevated in that, which is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy stuff. All right. Maybe I should open up 2 different radars. We'll have one on Texas storm, and we'll have another one here in Iowa. Let's go ahead and bring that up real quickly. Yep, so actually it looks like those storms are dying out. The one that was previously severe warned, yeah. She gone. That's good. That's good. Here, let's we'll bring up the models. Let's see what the latest HRRR kind of suggests here. Let's do precip type, composite reflectivity, HRRR. We'll do latest run, 23 Zulu. So it's currently 8:30. I mean, the HRRR says that there should be convection right now, but there's not. I mean, not nearly anything close to what the HRRR suggests right now. See, here's the real world. This is the current radar, and this is what the HRRR shows happening right about now. I mean, I'm trying to line these up the best I can, but you see that? A big difference. Really big difference. Bond says anything for the zip code. Let me look. See what we got going on for you. It's up in Ohio. Today, no. Tomorrow, no. Actually, we have a general thunderstorm risk out here. Just a couple booms of thunder possible, but that level 1 severe threat's not too far north of you. It's pretty close. Not too far away, so. Anyways. See, the model is wrong. You think? There's probably not enough moisture. Yeah, for surface-based storms, like we mentioned, for storms that develop from the surface, this is all elevated garbage, basically. I mean, there is the cape, there is the wind shear. I mean, the environment's there, but, we'll have to see here. Let's look at the, I'll pull up the RRFS model here. We'll hop to 22 Zulu. Yeah, see the RRFS model has stuff really popping off between 8 and 9, more southwest Iowa, but if we take a look back at kind of what we're seeing right now, there's nothing over in southwest Iowa right now. How long am I going to be live for? I don't know, honestly. I mean, I don't think today's going to warrant, an extremely long coverage. I mean, we've already been live a half hour, so, I don't know. I hate saying I'm going to stream this long and then I want to get off sooner. So it's like, I just go with the flow usually. But if it continues at this rate of not really seeing much, then there's really not a lot to cover right now. Therefore, we probably there's really no reason to, Then again, storms could happen later. They could. They absolutely could. Yep. Like I said, storms really need 3 main things, or 4 main things, really. You need moisture, which we're kind of in a problem today. Moisture is a little bit on the lacking department. You need instability, which we'll be measuring CAPE, or convective available potential energy, which is, there's enough instability. Wind shear, the strong winds throughout the atmosphere, the kinematics, it's there. And then, of course, really the other last thing is lift, a way of getting the warmer, moisture-filled air from the lower levels into the upper atmosphere. But given the fact that these are non-surface-based storms, it's a little different. But still, we need lift even for, non-surface-based storm activity. So, But that's really the main four things: is instability, wind shear, moisture, instability, wind shear, and lift. That's the main things you need for storms. It's kind of like baking a cake, So you don't want to put too much of one thing or too little of one thing; it just won't turn out right. Even in very close range, the models can get timing off. Oh, absolutely. And this is a good time to remind you guys that models ain't some magical thing that always gets weather 100% right. It's more of a tool that we can use to give us an educated guess based off of physics equations, thermodynamics equations, stuff like that. And it's just basically they could be wrong. So that's why it's very important to look at other models too, not just one, because some different models use different equations, different resolutions, stuff like that. It's good to look at multiple opinions here. Alice says check on Mesoanalysis in Illinois and Iowa to see how things are doing. Will do. Let's see here. I know these are very elevated. You're gonna see a big dew point depression on the surface. When I click on SKUT, you're gonna see a very elevated type of setup. Ready? Oh my goodness! Look at that. Yeah. So you see that gap? That green line's your dew point. So this is just a graph. Altitude and temperature. And the dew points in the green, the temperature's in the red. The further your dew point and your temperature are together, the lower the humidity, less moisture. Typically, the lower the dew point is. Just quick little thing. But you can see the CAPE, this little parcel path here. You can see that dotted line. This is all CAPE, or that instability. There's not a lot of instability on the lower levels. This is very elevated, so storm base would be like right here. So it's just terrible. It's just a terrible lower level setup today. It's honestly garbage. But anyways, that's that. Here, we'll pull up our mixed layer instability. I mean, there's a good amount of instability here. I mean, we do have pockets of 1,500, 2,000 joules per kilogram of mixed layer CAPE, which is good. It's just definitely a good amount of instability throughout the atmosphere. But yet again, we have that lower level issue, from moisture. So it's just, not really the best. Our lower level wind shear is actually pretty good, though. I mean, this is 850 millibar height, which is measured in pressure equivalent. So basically, 850 millibar height would be about 6,000 feet, roughly. It changes based on the pressure, essentially. So, it's a very common thing in aviation too. Making sure you set your, what do they call it? Shoot, it's at the top of my head. They basically just got to adjust for the pressure change and stuff, because it's never constant, But anyways, I mean, roughly about 6,000 feet or so. I mean, it's pretty decent, or I mean, it's pretty good overall. I mean, we have about 40 knots winds flowing from the southwest to the northeast here. And then you go up to 500 millibar height, which is about 20,000 feet up. The winds, first of all, change direction. We mostly have zonal flow in our mid levels, which I'll explain more what that is in a minute. But we do have about 45, 50 knots or so from the west to the east here overall. So what are the dew points? In the 50s, lower 50s. Bad. Yeah, I mean, typically anything below 55 degrees in terms of dew points is not good for surface-based storms. Really you want them 60 plus if you can get it. I mean, upper 50s will work too, but once you go like under into the lower 50s, that's when you start having some problems, and your chances for surface-based storms go out the window basically. So a lot of it would be elevated, which is what we're in for today. But anyways, let's actually pull up our I'll pull up our mid-level jet and show y'all what zonal flow is. It's pretty much it's simple terminology. It's just the main jet stream flowing mostly from west to east. There's no obvious troughing or ridging going on here. A trough would be a big dip in the jet stream. A ridging would be a big rise in the jet stream here. So, this would be like a low. This would be like a double high setup here. But we don't have that. It's just straight across for the most part. But still got some good mid-level shear, which is good for organizing storms. So it's there. I think Wednesday's going to be better because, here, I'll show you all this. Let's go back to 18 Zulu on our mid-level jet. We're going to have a bit of a trough here going into Wednesday and Thursday. So you can actually see the jet stream does something more like this. So you actually have a little bit of a trough there. You got that moisture advection from the Gulf here, supplying the moisture and the warmth, and then the cooler air kind of pulls back down. Anyways. Let's see. Did any of the storms get severe for you, Florida, today? No. We did have a couple of storms out here. They were, there was no lightning in them either. It was just, at least from what I saw, we were in a pretty decent one for a little bit, but no. Unfortunately, I need me a good storm, though. We had some pretty steep lower level lapse rates over Florida today, though, which is typical this time of the year. That really strong diurnal heating we get. Let's pull it. Thermodynamics. I'm sure they've gone down a lot since the sun's gone down and stuff. But yeah, if we go back, 4 hours ago, you can see we were at like 8 to 9 degrees Celsius per kilometer at lower level lapse rates, which is, for the people who don't know what this is basically the rate at which temperature drops with altitude. We measure it in degrees Celsius per kilometer typically, which basically is saying that the temperature is dropping off. So for this area here where you see that 9, which I'll show you right there, you see that 9 up in northern Florida. So at that area, the temperature is dropping off 9 degrees Celsius. You can do the math from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Celsius, there'll be a lot more Fahrenheit, but from Celsius, basically that the temperature is dropping 9 degrees Celsius per kilometer height. So that's pretty steep. Steep lapse rates are good for achieving positive buoyancy, with an air parcel that rises. That warm air rising makes it more buoyant, makes it want to rise more aggressively. The steeper the lapse rates are typically. Anyways, I don't want to nerd out too much here. I don't want to bore anybody. All right, let's hop back to radar. Seems like Iowa's doing not a whole lot here. We'll hop back over here to Texas real quickly. Oh yeah, we do got a new warning here. This is for just outside the panhandle of Texas here, but this includes Turkey, Flomont, Northfield, Tampico, and Parnell. Let's see, warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So we don't have any hail on that one, or sub-severe hail. But there is, it's crazy. There's actually more activity going on in the marginal risk than the slight risk for today. Crazy. But, that could absolutely change between now and then. Definitely could. But yeah, you can see we do have a strong mid-level jet up in the upper country right now. It's pretty strong. It is definitely pretty strong. If we change this to our lower level winds, we'll do 850 millibar, which is, like I said, about 6,000 feet up. Honestly, we have an increasing lower level jet right now. Current time is almost 9 o'clock, so you can see over the last few hours that lower level jet's been increasing in strength. So those lower level winds are actually getting stronger. Definitely interesting. So right now we'll say 10 o'clock there. These winds, according to the model, should be about 40 knots, maybe 45 knots, lower level winds. 6,000 feet or so. Put the radar overlay on top of it. Yeah, definitely looks pretty nice. Like I said, I'm definitely keeping a close eye on Wednesday. I want to watch Wednesday really closely. Because you could see that big line that fires off here. This is the RFS model once again. But we do have a lower level jet of about 40 knots here. I'll pull up our dew points here as well. Yeah, dew points, wow, actually pretty high. I'll pull up I like my color table better. It's the one they use on COD meteorology. I mean, look at that thing. Those are definitely some juicy dew points here. I mean, we're talking lower to mid 60s. That's supplying a good amount of water vapor. So the higher the dew point, the bigger capacity. Think of it as a bigger tank you have to hold more water vapor, which eventually will be transitioned from water vapor into liquid water as rain. So think of it, the higher the dew point, the bigger capacity you can hold. Versus the drier the dew point, the cooler the dew point, the less moisture you can hold. That's why, for surface-based storms, if you have those dew points really low, you can't hold as much moisture, which is, not good for storms because they absolutely need their moisture, So definitely important. But yeah, dew points are looking great, looking really good. Lower level jet, 40 to 50 knot lower level jet, mid 60 dew points. Yikes. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Wednesday has potential to be something pretty decent. Good instability here. Let me grab a sounding. We're gonna grab one ahead of that front there. Ooh, that's a bit of a capping inversion there. We're just gonna hold on. Forcing should be strong enough, from that cold front alone to even kinematically force its way through that temperature inversion or that cap there. But capping could be a little bit of a problem. Anyways, I mean, we have good moisture still. Big dew point depression. This could actually enhance damaging winds, because of that evaporative cooling we were talking about earlier. Decate values over 1,200 joules per kilogram, which that's pretty strong. Could really help accelerate those downdrafts pretty fast. Definitely could be a bit of a damaging wind threat here. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on Wednesday. Yeah, just don't be surprised if something happens by the time we get to Wednesday. I mean, it looks pretty decent here. That it does. All right, we're gonna hop back to sat radar. So here's a view over Texas right now. Still got that one cell popping off over by Memphis here. These two are severe warned at the moment, but over here in Iowa, still pretty quiet. Looks like we have two new areas to watch. Possible storm firing off west of Des Moines. Another one out there by Harlan. You see those clouds starting to really thicken up quite a bit. So, what's up, Richard? Hello from the Mishawaka/South Bend area here in northern Indiana. Just got done doing yard work now, checking in. Well, it's good to see you, friend. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, Indiana, we do have a little bit of a threat here. Actually, mostly for tomorrow. Richard, I'm not sure if you knew this, but we do need to keep a close eye on tomorrow's threat. Because you said you were out there by South Bend area, so you're right up here. But we do definitely have that level 2 threat for tomorrow. 2% tornado threat, 15% hail threat, and 15% wind threat. So, yeah, just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up since you're out there. But yeah, that's kind of one of the hot spots here for tomorrow. Carrot that says, I see what said. What said? What are you talking about? Let's see here. But anyways, yeah, so we'll definitely keep a close eye on these Texas storms here. We'll definitely be watching them pretty closely. Let's see here. So they are currently severe warned. They do have, let's see here, 60 mile per hour wind gusts here overall. At least for that south one. The northern one out here by Gillis, this one is for 60 mile per hour wind gusts and $half sized hail. You mean what I said? Carrot, I have no idea what you're talking about, man. Oh. Did you see what I said? I did not. I didn't get a chance to get to it. I'm sorry. I was in there wondering. I'm like, wait a minute. What are you talking about? No, I haven't got to it yet. Anything for Southwest Missouri? Today, no. Tomorrow, no. It doesn't really look like it. Yeah, here's tomorrow's throw. We have a bit of northern Missouri, central northern, but like Southwest Missouri, no. But Wednesday we might have something to look out for. Absolutely. Let's see. Knew about good chances of rain all week. Had to get some yard work done before it turns into washout. Gotcha. Well, good on you, dude. I'm glad got all that over with. It's such a good feeling once you get all that done, you know? Aaron wants me to look at your zip code, of course. Wait, why is this bringing me to Indonesia? That's not right. Oh, here we go, Illinois. That's more like it. We got 2 level 1 threats here. One for today, one for tomorrow. Actually, we're pretty close to the slight risk for today. No tornadoes. A little bit of a wind. Sorry, a little bit of a hail threat. A little bit of a wind threat here. 5% for both. Tomorrow, no tornado threat. A little bit of a wind threat. A little bit of a hail threat. So yeah, it's kind of the same in terms of probability for both today and tomorrow. So relatively low in threat. I mean, the odds of you specifically seeing that is pretty low, but can't rule it out completely. 50,000 feet echo tops in Iowa. What from that one cell? Here, let's pull this back up. Let's see. Actually, we're gonna dedicate this. I forgot we opened 2 panels. We're gonna dedicate this radar here because I hate hopping back and forth. That's the one thing bad about GR2 is like they don't show the whole U.S. You can see they just show like one little panel, and I gotta work my way to each radar to work my way over there. But such a nice program though. Let's do echo tops. This says 44,000 feet. According to that radar. 44. Yeah, seems like 44,000 feet. I mean, still decent tops. Roby says, thank you very much. Of course, friend. You know I got you guys. I'm here for y'alls. No, honestly, Iowa's kind of, I don't know. I think things are starting to pop off. You know what? There it is. Remember I was telling you guys about, what's that? Harlan? Sorry. It took me a minute to figure out what Harlan. Yeah, we're starting to see some thicker cloud cover there. It looks like we're actually starting to get a little storm popping off out here. Hey, yo. So it begins. Yeah, once again, I mean, models are not perfect. They give you an idea of what things could look like, but timing-wise and stuff like that, they're never 100% perfect. Because real life is almost infinite scale, while most of the high res models are capped out to 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer radius, or grid pattern, I should say. So they're very limited. Was I born in Florida? No, I was not. I was born in Northern Virginia. Although I live in Florida, I've been in here. I lived in Florida for be 3 years. I have family that lives down here though. That's lived here for who knows how long. But closer to family. My brother lives here. My mom lives here. Anyways. So yeah, we'll definitely keep a close eye on these. All right, let's hop back. Here, we'll take a look back at the models here. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, I mean, so here, let's see. Is there any new runs yet? We'll hop back to HRRR. That Zero Zulu should be running pretty soon. Yeah, you can see the models here kind of show just like a bunch of scattered storms, kind of forming a little line in southern Iowa. It doesn't really look like that, but it looks. I don't know. It's trying. It's trying. So this is the real picture. This is the real radar right now. You can see some storms to the east, some new storms developing to the west here, and this is what models were showing that it should look like about now. But it's all good. Here, let's see. You know what? Why didn't I think about this earlier? We should have grabbed some soundings because they just recently did a weather balloon launch. Holy lower level dryness. Goodness. Dude, that's crazy. Oh my goodness. That's a 40. What? Was that 44? 44 degree dew point depression there. That decape is actually outrageous. 1,300 joules per kilogram of decape. That is ridiculous. That's crazy. I mean, you can see that mid-level instability. You know, decent mid-upper level wind shear. Lower levels are meh. But 43 degree dew points. That's unfortunate. We'll try out here further east. Dew points in the mid-50s. Definitely really some dry air. You know, that really screams hail and damaging wind potential, really. You know, if you have dry lower levels, you can enhance damaging winds by having evaporative cooling, kind of help force accelerating that air downwards. You know, like I said, as you have liquid water, as rain fall through a dry environment, you know, some of that water actually gets reabsorbed back into the air as water vapor. And the process actually cools down the air, which kind of helps accelerate that cooler air downward because it cools it down even more. Evaporative cooling is a real thing, and it'll definitely enhance some damaging winds here. I mean, still seeing some high decape values here. Absolutely. Definitely a bit of a warm layer, though. You know, any of these storms that would fire off here, like we mentioned, would definitely be elevated storms. They would not be surface-based. So, yeah, not very good. Like I said, you know, that kind of ruins tornado potential, though, which is good. That is good, you know. But it throws other things at the problem, like hail, which wet bulb's very important for that. Let's see, WBZ is 9,500 feet. The lower the wet bulb zero temperature, the greater the hail concern. As long as there's a lot of instability and, you know, good wind shear at those layers too, can definitely enhance some hail generation. Very, very cool stuff. All right, let's go look at this Harlan storm here. Yeah, just a little pop-up storm. I mean, it doesn't look like anything crazy. Yeah, look at these MEDAR data points here. These are our dew points, by the way. Dew points are in the 50s, man. Even in the 40s at some stations here, which, like I said, that's really low. Typically, anything, like I mentioned, below 55, you know, dew point-wise, your potential for surface-based storms goes down significantly. And you know, like we mentioned, you know, for typical surface-based storms, you really want those dew point values to be pretty much in the 60s or greater, typically. Which the thing about Florida is our dew points during the summertime are usually in the 60s and 70s, sometimes even higher. I've seen them in the 80s before. So you can imagine the capacity of the air holding a lot of water vapor is quite enormous. Big tanks of moisture ready to go. So anyway, yeah, I mean these Texas storms actually going in get ready to go into Oklahoma, it seems. Popping off pretty good. Here's that sunset. You know, right at sunset, you can see the shadow from those upper levels. I bet that would make a spectacular sight. Like, say if you had like a camera out like right here, and you point your camera towards that storm, you know, you get part of the upper anvil cloud. That would be so pretty. I bet that'd be like one of the most beautiful shots you could get. Same with over here too. I mean, this one's more defined, you know. Beautiful. I need to take back up photography again. I used to do a lot of storm photography. Still need to do it this year. I got a lot of cameras ready. for our storm series we've been doing. I don't know if any of you guys in the stream right now have seen me do this, but here what we're starting to do on the channel is during severe weather and thunderstorm days, I am going over the forecast, updating you guys through the hour here at my location. Updating you guys through the hours and talking about the phenomenons that's going on. And then if we get storms, then we film them. And I got my drone up and working finally. That was actually one thing I was wanting to do. Finally got my drone up and working. So I'm not going to put them in the storms. That's not a good idea. But whenever we get near a storm or something, maybe I can get some good aerial shots. Got some good cameras, stuff like that. I'm ready for it. I need to save up and buy me a GoPro. If I could buy me a GoPro, I can mount it somewhere and we can get some nice outside footage during the storm because they're waterproof. So really, really cool. That's the plan. That's the plan in the future. But anyways. But yeah, storms over here in Iowa, they're sub-severe here at the moment. But we'll definitely keep an eye on it for a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm honestly not sure how much longer we're going to stream it. We've been live over an hour here. I'm not really expecting to be live a lot today. Like I mentioned, because we do have a lot of, or we don't have any tornado threat really. Really I like to cover the days with tornado threats and stuff like that. But today's mainly a hail threat here. Keegan wants me to look at a zip code. Of course. Of course. Let's see here. You, my friend, are up in Michigan. Three Rivers. We got a level 1 marginal for today. No tornadoes. Little 5% wind threat, 5% hail threat. Tomorrow, though, we have a level 2 threat, 2% chance for tornadoes. It is a SIG level 1. So, generally speaking, for tornadoes, we could expect possible tornado strength between EF0 and EF2. There's no hard cap to say that it can't go anything higher, but we're expecting it to be between EF0 to EF2. Damaging winds, 15%. Potential for some wind gusts upwards to 60 miles an hour being possible. And lastly, in terms of hail, we have a 15% chance here for hail, basically upwards of 1 inch in diameter to 1.5 inches, given it's a non-SIG risk here. So yeah, tomorrow, definitely got to keep a little bit of an eye on it. Anyways. But yeah, they did upgrade Wednesday's threat now to a slight risk here. So what's up, Joplin? Saying hi, Andrew. Hi, chat. Nothing to speak in southeast Kansas. It's warm and breezy. Good to see you, friend. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, southeast Kansas, we don't have a lot to talk about except for Wednesday. Yeah, Joplin, keep an eye on Wednesday. You can see here the SPC does have a level 1 marginal risk here. There's no breakdown for Wednesday, but I think Wednesday could be actually a pretty decent shot for severe weather. Not just saying Kansas specifically, but just the general event I think could be pretty decent here. Coming up here for Wednesday. So we will definitely keep a close eye on that. Keegan says, thank you, appreciate it. Of course, friend. Of course. All right, everybody. I think I'm probably going to roll off here. We just hit our hour mark. Like I said, if there was a lot more stuff going on right now, which, it's kind of slow, I ain't going to lie, then I'd probably stay, but there's really no reason to stay at the moment. Now, if it does get crazy later, I might or may not hop back on. So we'll see how that goes. But I think for now, since it's pretty calm, I think we'll probably call it a stream for now. We do have a couple storms trying to pop off in Iowa, but yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. Okay. But like I said, if this was more of a tornado threat, I feel like I'd stick around a little bit longer. But I think for now, probably going to call it a stream. It's not even really much of a damaging wind threat. I mean, a little 5% chance here for today, further east. But honestly, I think we're good to call it quits here for now. But like I said, I mean, if things really start popping off later, then we'll probably hop back on. But I think we're good for right now because literally the only warning we have is in Texas. So let's see. Eric says, thanks, boss, for popping out. No problem, dude. It was good to see you. Joplin says, good night. Good night, my friend. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Roby says, thanks for the update. You got it, Roby. No problem at all. But, all right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Much love to y'all. Thank you for stopping by. If y'all are new to the channel, first of all, thank you for stopping here. And if you did enjoy it, consider subscribing. Maybe leaving a like. Much appreciated. Squashy wants me to look at a zip code real quick. I got you. Hold on. I'll do this real quick, and then I'm going to head off for now, okay? Pennsylvania on Wednesday, you said, right? Or for Wednesday. Yeah, for Wednesday. You know what? You are just outside of that level 1 marginal risk here. You're in a general thunderstorm risk, so potential for storms, although not severe as of now. But we'll keep a close eye on it. You know, we'll definitely keep an eye on it as we do get closer to Wednesday. Like I said, Wednesday altogether, I think could be a decent day, mainly for the Great Plains and the Midwest here. So, anyways, Cheryl says hello from Dallas Fort Worth. Let's see. Our term for severe weather will be late Wednesday. Over. Yeah, Wednesday. Like I mentioned, I think Wednesday could be a decent setup, honestly. You know, like we mentioned, those dew points are in the lower to mid 60s. You know, instability values of 1,500 to 2,000 ml Cape. Good instability. Kinematics. Shoot, we had that lower level jet of 40 to 50 knots, which is pretty strong. But so between that, I mean, it seems decent. You know, we do have that trough. Right now it's zonal flow, mostly flowing from west to east here with the jet stream. But eventually we're going to have this trough. I wonder if you can see it now. I don't know if that's part of it or not. Anyways, but yeah. So it's definitely going to be quite interesting here. All right, friends. Thanks for joining. I appreciate y'all. Squashy says, thank you. Sorry for being last minute. No, you're good, Squashy. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It says it's weakening as it moves east. What, that line of storms here for Wednesday? We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. I think it could be decent, personally. But, all right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. And we may or may not hop on later on. It just depends on how the weather goes and stuff like that. So, if you guys could, maybe leave a like on your way out. It'd be much appreciated. But thank y'all for joining. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. We'll see y'all here later on. Peace out, my friends. See ya in the next one.